Italiano. Word of the day for today, Friday, 15 March 2024 is Soggiorno, which translates to English as stay. So stay means to be in a place for a period of time. It can be temporary, kind of a short stay, or it can be longer term or permanent, an extended stay. And extended stay, and from a paperwork perspective, might be something like, okay, I think one of the more common ones is like a tourist visa covers up to 2 months in a country. So, but if one wants to stay for 6 months in a place, that it reaches extended stay. Or in addition, there's paperwork and applications that might be necessary to accommodate that length of time. So I can think 2 months from like a travel perspective is still short stay, whereas more than 2 months starts to go into extended stay territory, and there's paperwork that comes with that if one is being good and following the law and that kind of stuff. And so I've brought up, I was like thinking, okay, what could I bring up as an example here? So I've said one of my projects, the typifying dislikers thing, is a project I'm thinking about dislikers, and kind of the intent behind it is I've disliked videos, and I haven't for a few months to several months now, in part because in disliking videos, I was trying to develop some sort of like approach to it, which is a feedback approach, but that's not necessarily helpful because I liked most of the videos I watch, or I kind of tune what I watch to be an enjoyable kind of pool of videos. So I was like, well, I've talked about that, and I've kind of revisited that and put out some videos on different disliker types, including my own, from the past. And I was like, well, but if I'm thinking forward, then maybe I can think of, if staying on YouTube, then maybe I can think of what are additional disliker types that I myself might want to adapt my own disliking habits to, if I like that kind of approach. So I've started in my journal being like, can I come up with 3 more disliker types, kind of to just think of like trying the hat on, does that fit for disliking videos for me, kind of thing. So there's one example of staying is a place can be a little like this in terms of feel. Come up with a way, and negativity and stuff like that, come up with a way to turn that, it might be a negative channel, so to speak, dislikes, however, flipping it into something positive. Right? It doesn't necessarily mean the person who's disliking it means dislike. And it might not be anything about the person in the video. Okay, so there's one example. The second one would be staying with YouTube. And do make this platform specific. I am Tanis Leonhardi. It's my YouTube channel, Tanis Leonhardi, at least currently. I'm Tanis Leonhardi, she, her, hers of Seattle. And so I was thinking, okay, another staying on YouTube. What would my life look like married and living with my soulmate and or soulmates? Well, it might be busy, especially as a pleasure wife, a trophy wife. I got sugar daddy, daddies kind of thing. All right, so it might be we move my stuff to Scotland or France or Hungary or wherever, and the critters, or the critters as appropriate kind of thing. And then I might be on the road, so to speak. They might be taking me to where their sports team trains, be it a club, well, a club via a school or not a school or stuff like that. So there might be a fair amount of on location stuff. And so it's like, well, what would that mean for this YouTube channel? My life, my approach here is living my life and sharing it as I can, kind of thing. But so then coming up with some sort of coherent approach to that, and I was like, well, there's a lot of people who do at like a high level in swimming who do collegiate swimming. I did not do collegiate swimming. I did 12 years of club swimming, which included 1 year round, 1 YMCA, and then 4 years of high school swimming, which was not a club, right? So I'm like, if I just look at that, 2/3 of my swimming experience was club, and I don't have the collegiate. So I have a uniquer perspective on club dominated competition history, as opposed to somebody who goes on and competes in college, where their highest level of competition might be college, right? They cannot speak to what it's like to have club or high school be their highest level of competition. They don't know, right? They went on to college and competed in college. And a lot of YouTube channels provide that perspective, and I was like, well, then maybe I work on my strengths, or I consider it a strength, is I come from the bulk of my competition history, in the highest level of my competition history. If like the highest in one's competition area, then it was summer league, club swimming kind of thing. Then my strength is club swimming, not school swimming kind of thing. So then maybe like I go with my Andrei Munikov, maybe there are miniature Munikovs, or I go with my Marchand, and there's miniature Marchands, and I go with my Kos, and there's miniature Koses kind of thing, like thinking of children, but approaching it from the club perspective instead of the school perspective, kind of thing. Right? And it's not about being overly cautious about what the market already is, but instead focusing on what's my background, right? And like trying to make that avenue for which I can incorporate the new information and build on my existing foundational knowledge, as opposed to like, if I take it in through a purely college perspective, I'm like, my college perspective, I spent 7 years in undergrad and over 4 years in graduate school, and that's more than most of the people who compete in collegiate programs who max out at 4 or 5 years of undergrad and grad school combined, right? So I'm like, I got triple on you. not triple, but double to triple the experience in school. So like, I can add that to my like higher education kind of story, but that for me is more academic in science and engineering and mathematics and technology, that kind of stuff. But I had other stuff too. I did upper language coursework in like Spanish and stuff. So there's a little bit of this staying on this channel, might be building on some of the stuff that I haven't necessarily brought up or kind of really focused on the channel, though the topics that I've covered on the channel might still be present. It's like a re-gearing to kind of sharing about a different aspect of me that I haven't necessarily brought up because it hasn't necessarily been relevant, kind of thing. So yeah, so like a poolside, not perspective, right? That's the YouTube channel, poolside perspective, but like me sitting and watching practice and being like, I don't really know what's going on here, so maybe that's right. That would be my take, right? Is trying to learn and then learning and then being like, well, I'm a spectator and I'm a significant other, so maybe sharing that side of things, kind of thing. Right? I'm not a competitor, at least focusing on swimming. Now with the being a Britson, it might become even more intriguing because I myself am a runner, kind of thing. So yeah, but then if they're traveling a lot, depending on where the base of the club is and what the club's, be it school or non-school, right, competition circuit is, so to speak, there might be travel, right? So then I could also think of venues, right? Because I was an employee at multiple pools, right? So then in addition to the club swimming perspective, also think of it from the worker's perspective, because that's something I have, say approximately 6 years of work experience in aquatics. Right, not as a paid swimmer, right? As a coach, as a cleaner, as a lifeguard, as a swim instructor, that kind of thing. So building on that background, because a lot of people who actually are professional swimmers don't have that. So right, working on my strengths and building from there. So yeah, and in English, that is stay. But that's kind of elaborating to kind of YouTube specific stay examples. In Italiano, the word is Soggiorno with a double G.